our citizens have been really on edge, wondering what will happen, what's going to happen with the federal portion of the unemployment benefits, what's going to happen in regard to will there be a $1,200 stimulus check in the mail? Congress has been in a deadlock there in Washington. Apparently, the House sent the Senate proposed bill. The Senate did not send the House a bill. They have been picking apart what they had. The bill was for $3 trillion. The Republicans have said that's too much money. And I can remember when under Reagan, when the federal budget hit $1 trillion, and everybody was so shocked. They thought that they would never get to be that much. And of course, they're asking for the House is asking for $3 trillion just to address this pandemic. Well, the president, number 45, President Trump, decided that he was going to take matters into his own hands, and he made an executive order. And in this executive order, because now remember, they went on break for the weekend without a decision. This is August. A number of the provisions expired, and so he has said that he's going to fix things, and he did it by executive order. And there are a lot of questions where that is concerned. So we're going to turn to CNN. They did a extensive report and interviews with some of the main parties, and we want to see just what they had to say about this issue.
Yesterday, President Trump accused Democrats of being unreasonable to push for $3 trillion in economic relief for Americans, and said his 4 executive actions will, quote, take care of pretty much this entire situation after congressional talks broke down. Joining me now to respond is the Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me just start with what just happened in my interview with the president's chief economic advisor, Larry Kudlow. He said that the White House didn't know how many states would contribute to the president's plan to supplement unemployment insurance, or how long it would take for those payments to kick in. What's your response?
Well, first morning, Dana. It's nice to be with you on a Sunday morning. Let us all be prayerful that we can meet the needs of the American people, especially as we all watch the angst that is associated with sending children back to school. What the president's advisor said really shows the weakness and the meagerness of what the president proposed. First of all, he's saying states have the money. No, they don't. They have expenses from the coronavirus. They have lost revenue because of that. They are firing healthcare workers, first responders, teachers, and the rest, sanitation, transportation workers, because they don't have the money. Second of all, everything is left out. Our assistance to the schools, feeding the hungry, helping people who are going to be evicted. The president's didn't even do a moratorium. He just did a study or a look at a moratorium. So again, something's wrong. Either the president doesn't know what he's talking about. Clearly, his aides don't know what he is talking about, or something's very wrong here about meeting the needs of the American people.
Well, let's talk about what he did do, or what he said he did with these executive actions. Are they legal? And if you don't think they are you going to sue to block them?
Well, the fact is that whether they're legal or not takes time to figure out. I associate my remarks with Senator Sasse, who says they're unconstitutional slots.
But will you
I
sue?
think that's good. Well, right now we want to address the needs of the American people as my constitutional advisors tell me they're absurdly unconstitutional. But right now, our focus, and that's a parallel thing. Right now, the focus, the priority has to be on, again, meeting the needs of the American people, sufficiently allocating resources to send children to school, not threatening schools that if they don't have actual attendance, they won't get the federal dollars.
So given that, are negotiations going to resume, or are
Well, I hope so.
negotiations dead?
I hope so. We have a big difference, and here's why. For example, millions of children in America are food insecure, and their families as well. But I always like to focus on the children. In our bill, we have tens of billions of dollars to address the hunger needs in our country, which are there normally, but exacerbated during the pandemic. We have tens of billions of dollars. They have $250,000. So do they care? I have a prayer that I say, let's pray for those who are hungry. Let's pray harder for those who will not feed them. Then we go to the Princeton lab, eviction lab, says that we need these resources. There are going to be this many millions of evictions, and the president is going to study it. Right. Going to look at it.
Right. So given that you are the Speaker of the House, you have enormous power. You've been in these negotiations. Given what you just said about people hungry and worried and very, very fearful, why not get back in that room and come up with a compromise on some of these core issues? I understand you want to get the best possible for people, but at some point you got to work with the other side, right?
Well, that's right, and that's why we said we'll come down $1 trillion. Not that we cut out any of our priorities, but we shorten the length of time in which they would be in effect. And next year we can extend them again, and they could add some. I mean, tens of trillions, 60 trillion actually. $250,000. There's a long way for us to come together. We'll come down $1 trillion. You pull up $1 trillion. We'll find our common ground.
That's compromise.
Okay. So why aren't you? So why aren't you at the table then? Why aren't you guys working all weekend then to try to?
Well, we said come back when you want to put up some more money, but we can't accept the meager pass that they have there. And by the way, this is really a thing of an issue that takes a lot of our time, opening up our schools. We have
She keeps coming back to
schools. If you open up actually, if you open up virtually, and if you open up hybrid, it costs just about the same amount of money. And so what we've seen is of the 100 largest school districts, 62 are open 100% virtual, and yet the president's saying, unless you open up actual, we're withholding.
We're not going to withhold the money.
So I
She don't want
want
to
to
hear
talk
that.
specifically about
It's
this
the report of
$600
CNN.
benefits that expired. Two top Obama economic officials, Tim Geithner and Jason Furman, wrote in June that extending $600 quote, does not make sense now. You're standing firm on that number, on that $600. Why are you insisting on that as opposed to having a compromise with the Republicans so that people out there who are hungry, who desperately need that money, could get something rather than nothing, which is what they have now?
Well, let's just say that the $600, many economists tell us, I didn't even see that on there, but many economists tell us that has kept many millions of people out of poverty.
Kept them afloat, not out of
What they
poverty.
put on the floor of the House Senate last week was $200.
Okay, so you have
$200.
600, they have 200. What about 400? I mean,
Yeah, but what the
like a
president
pretty clear
proposed,
compromise.
what the president proposed yesterday at his country club surrounded by his people who must spend thousands of dollars to join,
Yes.
is something that won't even work. He's talking about, well, I'll put up 400 and the states will put up 100.
Right, he's
They have
talking
the
about
money. They
executive
don't
action,
have the money.
which is
They don't have
questionable.
the
I'm
money.
talking
No,
about
no,
doing it the
but
right way.
I'm saying that what he put forth is not even workable.
Would you
It's
do
not workable.
$400
I'm not
extra?
negotiating that right here. It depends on what else is
Legislatively.
in the bill.
She said-
It depends on what else is in the bill.
What else
When
is
they have
in it?
$250,000 for food, nothing for elections, withholding funds from schools who want to open up virtually.
Yes,
and
more than
thus,
just this little
and
piece.
again, no money for those who will be evicted, because that's the same kitchen table. I either get this money and I can help me pay the rent, or I don't get this
I understand you
and
don't
I
want
get no money to pay the
I
rent.
understand you don't want to negotiate with me, but my question is, are Republicans right when they say you will not come off of your $600 number? You will
That's
not
not
come
the
off
only
of
thing.
other
You're not listening.
figures, other policy initiatives that you want,
Well,
and
some of
that's
them,
why,
no,
and
we're gonna
that's
feed
why
the
you're
children.
at stalemate.
Yeah, no, that's not where we're at stalemate. We're not at stalemate because the Republicans had from the start never understood the gravity of the situation that we are in.
There you go.
They have called it a hoax. They
Yep.
called it delay, denial, distortion of this pandemic. And we cannot open our economy or open our schools safely unless we address the pandemic. So the basic thing is they have ignored that. The problem has grown.
Yes.
And it has become an enormous economic
Do you
problem.
take any
And the fact
responsibility?
is,
and I'm
the
speaking
fact
for the
is,
fact that this is stuff.
others have said, the chairman of the Fed, other economists have said, pay now or pay more later.
Yes.
So what we're saying is, let's help those who need it
The
the most.
most.
Let's send our children safely to school. Let's make sure they have food, make sure their families are not evicted, make sure that their grandparents
secure.
are not getting
But
their
right now they have nothing, as you well know, because those things expired. So
Well, what do you think that get out of a $250,000 food designation in the Republican plan? In other words, you're acting as if there's some great big thing that they're
no, I'm not.
proposing.
I'm asking if there's room for compromise on your end.
Of course, there's room for compromise, but you have to see
Okay.
the
So I want
entire
to ask about.
package.
So I want to ask
Do
about
you
that.
think
The
she
next
kinda
setting
rude?
deadline is,
Type
you know
in your
better than I,
thoughts.
for Congress to take action is September 30th. So is
Yes.
it possible that Americans will have to wait until late September, almost 2 months from now, without any congressional relief?
On September 30th to do what? I'm sorry, I missed
So
you.
that's the next deadline, when you all have to act on
Right, that's
spending.
right.
Is it possible that, right, so is it possible that this stalemate is going to last until then, that people aren't going to get relief from you all in Congress until then?
Oh, these are two separate issues.
Ha!
What we do
Tell
on
her.
the appropriation
Teach.
process to meet our fiscal year deadline is one thing.
So you're confident you're going to get back to the table and figure this out?
Well, we have to. We have to, and that's why we were willing to say we'll come down $1 trillion. That doesn't mean the needs of the American people have gone down. It just means we recognize that they have a disdain for the needs of the American people.
Tell
That's
them,
why they
teach.
question whether
She
people
don't like
even
that.
need the $600.
The reporter now,
That's
you're
why
not
she
really
questions
supposed to be
others.
seeing what she
Some
feels
people
one
just
way or the
don't
other.
wanna pay rent. We're like, well, you know what? Most people do.
Yep. So you get the idea of what we are looking at regarding this weekend and the actions of the president. I'd like to know what you think about it. If you have some opinion, if you've been watching and if you're concerned. Also, I want to put in, as some of you well know, I am the Environmental Climate Justice Liaison for the state of Louisiana, NAACP. And so I really think that this election would be a pivotal point for the environment, for the economy, for our democracy as a whole. And yes, I'd like to know what you think about matters. And so I'm going to suggest that you comment, that you like, that you share. And let's get some dialogue going. I know that lots of people, they just kind of want really quick answers. And this one is nothing regarding COVID is going to be quick and clear cut. Nothing. That's one thing that I have determined. If you find me to be wrong, say so. This is Stephanie Anthony wanting to know if you want to talk. Let's talk.